Welcome to the Wednesday Grind, everyone. I'm Angel. I'm so excited for today's episode. We are diving into all of the 2025 AI trends on Etsy and in print and demand. Today, joining me is Trent from, let me show him here, from Technically Trent. He's also a Sellers Club mentor. That's where I met Trent. And we're going to be diving into everything about AI, print and demand, and design.
Hi, Angel. Thanks for having me.
Yes. Really quickly, guys, just a quick poll, just to get a feel for where you guys are at with AI design. If you are brand new to designing with AI, drop a 1 or the new emoji. If you're brand new, you've never designed with AI before, you're just getting started, throw a 2 in the comments. If you've dabbled with AI a little bit, but you're still figuring it out, drop a 3 or a rocket emoji if you use AI regularly. But you're just here to look for new strategies. A 4 if you're an AI design pro, but you want to learn some advanced tips. So drop a 4 or the paint emoji down. So yeah, let us know, and let us know what your favorite AI tools are. Do you guys use Midjourney? Do you use ChatGPT, AI image generator, Bing, Canva, Kittl, any others that you can think of, Trent?
Ideogram is one that's being used a lot these days, like for text and stuff. So.
Yes. And also just let me know where you guys are tuning in from so I can show comments. So let me show what I have so far. Marlene, hi, hello. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Shelly. Hi, Marlene. Let's see, we've got a 1. Okay, so you're brand new to AI. Shelly's brand new. Lisa's dabbled with it a bit, still figuring it out. Let's see. Multiple apps, Marlene. Agreed. I use multiple. It kind of depends on what the design I'm going for. Let's see. Marlene's a 3. Shelly's tuning in from Alaska. Wow. Lisa likes Canva, Kittl, ChatGPT. Yep, I use all of those. Shelly, ChatGPT. Cool. All right. Well, like I said earlier, I'm joined here with Trent. He is from the YouTube channel Technically Trent, and he's a successful seller who has really learned how to leverage AI for his print and demand business. So he's going to be sharing with us strategies that he's learned with AI, how he uses AI in his workflow, in his print and demand workflow with his Etsy business. We're going to be covering different trends in the AI trends in Etsy and in print and demand. Which we have an interesting conversation coming up about that. AI design process, so just his workflow, how he does that. Some prompt recommendations. I feel like the prompt piece for me is a piece that I tend to struggle with personally. So I'm excited to hear Trent's insight there. And then, of course, Spill the Beans. He's going to share with us some hot tips and strategies for AI design, or just with print and demand, his Etsy business. And then we'll do a live Q&A at the end. We've also got a hello from San Antonio. I think that's Michael, right? Camp Comfort Tees. But hello from Texas. Alrighty, Trent, let us know about your journey. How did you arrive to selling online on Etsy, and when did you start incorporating AI?
Yeah, so my background is kind of more technical, like, software development type stuff, but I've always had an interest in art and design, and it's I've gone off and on throughout the years. And probably around 2018 or so, I started doing more digital designs, like on my iPad and stuff like that. And then, like a lot of people during 2020 and COVID, I started realizing, oh, you could kind of sell these things online. Like I heard about this thing called Printify, and there was Printful, and there was Redbubble, and then you could integrate with Etsy and all this kind of stuff. And that was kind of when I started to look at it during that period. And again, it was like a lot of digital designs, stuff that I'd draw and make myself. And that's kind of where I started with it. Like most people, I just kind of threw everything like at the kitchen sink at it and just saw what stuck. And there are a couple of niches I kind of liked more than others. I'm kind of known for doing some like retro 80s type stuff, but that was kind of where I first really got into it.
Okay, cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
And have you noticed, like, is your workflow faster now that you use AI, or is it pretty much the same? You just like replaced AI with your workflow?
I definitely think that's faster because now I can iterate like on ideas much faster. And a lot of times, maybe it's not even like I'm creating the AI stuff itself, but I'm using graphic design assets from Creative Fabrica or some other
Mhm.
website that I can kind of clearly tell are AI based, you know?
Mhm.
I often joke, like, if you look at like Creative Fabrica, if you look at anything that's created after 2023, it's almost certainly generated with AI, you know?
Yes.
But
Well, and that's the thing, is that there's so much pushback with a lot of, I get it. There's a lot of controversy around AI
yeah,
and AI assets,
yeah,
and the ethical piece of that.
yeah,
But the reality is that if you're sourcing your own graphics in the party from a third party, like
yeah,
Creative Fabrica, like Canva,
yeah,
most of them are AI now. So
exactly.
you can't really get away from it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's like, you know, even people that take their own photographs, you can use AI to
Mhm.
extend the photographs and have it fit a
Mhm.
better aspect ratio. So it's really just, you know, there's always been this thing like, should you disclose if you're gonna like use AI? And to me, it's
Mhm.
almost like, you know, should you disclose if you're gonna use Photoshop? Like everyone uses it
Right.
for something, so everything is gonna say it uses Photoshop or whatever your tool is.
Mhm.
That's gonna kind of be the similar thing with AI at some point, you know?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Really quickly, tell us a little bit more about your work with Printify Sellers Club. That's where you and I actually met.
Yeah.
And tell us about your role there.
Yeah, so Printify, for those who don't know, it's a print on demand service. So you can upload designs and art and you can put it on a variety of products. I kind of been working with them for a few years and well, since about 2020. And, you know, I was contributing to their Facebook groups. I kind of answer questions there. And I made a couple of videos on YouTube about how to do some things. And they kind of reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to join this thing called the Sellers Club? We kind of want to give new sellers some more hands-on assistance with like getting their shop started and kind of concepts of like, you know, marketing or design or how to get their business running. So yeah, that's where we met there. So I've been with them since about September or so, I think, is when we started. So almost half a year, I guess, at this point. So I do streaming on there too. We give feedback on shops and designs. So if you want like feedback like on that type of thing, it's a great place to go.
Yeah, it's really is an incredible resource. You can try it for free. There's a link below, or just Google like Printify Sellers Club, and you can try it for a week for free, and then it's just $5 a month, and you get access to like their trend spot where they create blogs where they share like really exclusive data of trends. So like on their end, like what is their top selling colors for their top selling products. What are their top selling products, and like what is the percentage of growth, so that you can kind of really make database decisions for your business. So I think it's really incredible. The mentors like myself and Trent, we do live webinars weekly. We also have like our own spaces where we create little blog posts with tips and strategies. I'm trying to think of what else. What am I missing?
Yeah, I mean, and like people specialize in different things. Like, you know, you kind of do
Mhm.
a lot of the Etsy and trends and stuff. There's also Essence, who I think you're having on soon. She does a lot of the
Yes.
TikTok stuff. We have some Shopify people too. So it's a wide variety of specialties, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool spot. So you guys can check that out.
Yeah.
All right, so now on to the really fun stuff. Why everyone is here? Those AI trends. Really quickly, when Trevor and I were discussing, I'm sorry, Trent, Trent and I were discussing this topic of AI trends and designs. He was just saying, because I was asking him, what do you think the top trends are for AI right now with print and demand in mind? And we both kind of agreed that pretty much the current trends on Etsy and print and demand, whether you sell apparel or mugs, regardless of the product, pretty much whatever the trend is, it's an AI trend now. What do you want to elaborate on that, Trent?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think it's just whatever is happening, whatever's popular now in the world, whether it's business or whatever, someone somewhere is saying, how can I use AI to do this? Whether it's a design trend or a pop culture trend or something like that, a workflow trend. So that's what kind of thought it was kind of funny when you had the trends listed. I was like, well, everything can be AI at this point.
Right.
And I think, you know, maybe we could talk about in a few as we go through the stream, like trends and how people are using it and stuff like that. They're definitely kind of, I think people are becoming more sophisticated in how they use it. In the early days, it was kind of just throw a rectangle on a shirt that you generated from ChatGPT or something. Now people are doing more sophisticated design, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's what I would say. All trends are AI trends now.
Yes, pretty much any design trend that you are noticing trending on Etsy or on Amazon, it can be created with AI now. I will say that in the last year, where I think I've seen AI come along more, and it's still not perfect, but it is with text. It's really doing a better job at generating text, and I feel like once AI can do that really well and reliably, it is going to be such a game changer, because that's like that piece where sometimes it can make or break the design if you have like a
Yeah.
graphic and text, or it's just like text based. I
Yeah.
think once it can do that reliably, it is, if you're not using AI, you will be left in the dust.
Yeah, totally. And there's this joke people always say, like, today is the worst day that AI will ever be, right? Like, it's always going
Yes.
to be it's basically all uphill in terms of getting better, So I kind of shake my head when people kind of laugh at what it can't do. I'm like, yes, maybe not now it can, but I posted recently on my Facebook page just like the trend of the last 3 years, like what a similar prompt in Midjourney got me like 3 years ago versus what it gets me now. And it's 3 years ago, it looks like child hand painting,
Wow.
Now it's like, photorealistic and everything. So who knows what's going to be in 1 year or 5 years? It's crazy.
I remember the first image I ever generated. It was on OpenAI, and I was just like amazed. I was like, "Look
Yeah.
at this artwork I made!" I think it
Yeah.
was like an impressionist style. And
Yeah.
I looked back at it recently. I was like, "Oh, that is bad.
Yeah.
That is bad."
Well, in the early days, like everything was that kind of like hallucination kind of look. It was like that,
Yes,
Van Gogh on acid or something design.
yes, that's
That was
exactly
like,
what it was like.
yeah, that was everything. And now, of course, we're way beyond that.
Way behind.
Yeah.
Now I'm pretty good at spotting whether or not a design is AI, but it's getting harder. Like it's getting really good.
Yeah. For the people that are using it in the best way, like you can't really tell
Mm-mm,
anymore. But
mm-mm,
there is still like, the way most people use it, there's still kind of telltale signs. One of the biggest things, like I've kind of critiqued a lot of actual human artists
mm-hmm,
throughout my life, and like you can kind of tell, like, okay, a human artist wouldn't make that little decision there, like just the way like a stroke of hair is awkward or something. Like humans make
mm-hmm,
a certain type of mistake, and AI makes a different type of mistake, and that's kind of one of the ways you can kind of tell. But that's
mm-hmm,
going to be impossible going
mm-hmm.
forward, like in the future. Then you're not
Absolutely.
gonna be able to tell.
Yeah, especially whenever it's just like graphic based and it's not like a picture, or like of a person. When
Yeah.
it's just like an aesthetic design, it's
Yeah.
harder. It's harder to tell.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah.
So some of the trends that I noticed on Etsy that we can kind of discuss, and you can
Sure.
obviously throw your own input there
Yeah.
on what you've noticed as well, because this isn't going to be exhaustive. Really quick, make sure you like and subscribe to the video. That way, it pushes it out to more people, and so you don't miss future lives like this. Dark academia and goth, huge. Specifically, the word goth. They're using that a lot in the SEO. I've noticed.
Mm.
Dark academia is huge. A lot in the wall art, as well as on T-shirts and apparel. And here, like the crows before bros, it's like the humorous part.
Yeah.
But here you can see how more than likely that text was generated with AI, if I had to guess, because it's gotten so much better.
Yeah.
You couldn't do that a year ago.
Right.
You can now. You can really kind of create more of a complete design now in a way that you couldn't before.
Yeah. And this is a great genre too. I like this niche. I have a shop where I kind of do some stuff in it, and it's a fun one. I personally, I like the style. So the dark academia goth is cool
Mhm.
stuff to generate, for my opinion.
Yes, and this is a newer buzzword for the weird eyes one.
Uh,
They used dark cottagecore and like cottagecore goth, and
uh,
I was like, oh, is that new? Is that a new trend here?
yeah.
Um, okay, next up is celestial and lunar. This is huge. There's going to be a full lunar eclipse in March, so I'll be curious to see if it sticks around after that. I think it will. I think it's been a pretty popular design aesthetic for a while on Etsy,
Mm.
but definitely more so right now. I think because of that, there was a huge uptick beginning in November, where it just was really taking off, where people were specifically looking for celestial type products. So it's on apparel, wall art. I'm noticing more people here where they're sort of using like different types of aesthetics. So here's like the cottagecore, like botanical, floral with lunar celestial,
Right. Yeah.
with a dark, moody kind of more of like dark cottagecore or goth,
Mhm.
sort of. And I'm seeing like tones of that too. So kind of a cool aesthetic there. So that's super popular. Another thing I wanted to mention was generative typography. So like I mentioned earlier, where we're seeing way more designs, AI being able to create designs where it integrates text really well. When I created actually my logo for this live, the Wednesday grind, I was like trying to get ideas. I didn't think I was going to actually be able to create the actual logo because it was so text based, and it did it like really well.
Nice.
And it's just like, wow, it's AI has come so far with text.
Yeah.
To me, that's like the biggest change in the last year that I've noticed. Is it being able to add that and more. It's not perfect still, but it's getting more reliable.
Right. And I saw Creative Fabrica. I saw they recently had some new font generation tool, which I haven't used yet, but it's like an AI based font generator. So like I said, I haven't tried it yet, but they
I'll pull it up real quickly. If you just want to chat about maybe another trend or whatever you want to talk about, I'm going to pull that up real quickly. I meant to have it up and ready for us, but I forgot.
Okay. Yeah. Well, like Angel said, I'll just continue on the tech stuff. Like this is something that was historically very not good with a lot of the AI tools. Midjourney, which I'll talk about a little bit more later, still kind of struggles with it. But there's one platform called Ideogram, which I've heard good things about. It seems to be really one of the leaders in terms of text. I know Riley, one of our other mentors on the Printify platform, kind of swears by that one. But yeah, text is still, it's kind of like the, I don't know, holy grail of getting the AI to do the right thing. I would say right now, like, you just want to make sure you have a good eye when you generate text and really look at it closely, because I review shops like every week and I'll see products that people put out there where it's just like misspellings in the words or kind of So it looks like we're back. How's it going with you?
Yes, good. Okay, perfect. Here, you actually like cut out on my end. I'm not sure if you did on anyone else's.
Okay.
But here, let me stop sharing this.
All right.
And then I'm going to reshare it so that present, share screen, window. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So ChatGPT has a new font generator. I haven't played around with it a ton, but you just go to tools once you log into Creative Fabrica, and then select the font generator. So let's play around with this. Let's see. I'll just put AI art, and then I'll do artistic. We'll try it and like see what happens. Oh, I wonder if I'm supposed to describe it. I probably was supposed to.
Really?
All right. Let's see.
We'll see what happens.
Okay, cool.
Interesting.
So then this is like, it creates an entirely brand new font, like that it just like didn't exist before, and that you technically own.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Christmas font or something.
So yeah, let's try that. Let's go back. That's really cool.
That's crazy.
I'm gonna do like calligraphy.
Sure.
Calligraphy. Let's do decorative. Let's do fancy. Let's see I wonder if you could use ChatGPT to like create the prompts too. Like if you made a really detailed prompt for it, if, like it would make a really like unique font.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. This was not quite there, but maybe it's useful for something.
Yeah. Let's see. I'll just put artistic or hand drawn. We'll do artistic, hand drawn. So I feel like it's like first generation. I have a very like first generation feel to this, where it doesn't have a lot of like ability to. Oh, interesting. Okay.
Oh, that one's cool.
To tweak it, to tweak it.
Yeah. I think it'd be fun to experiment with, though.
But yeah, this is really interesting. So yeah, if you guys haven't checked out not ChatGPT, but Creative Fabrica's new font generator, give it a try, because I think it's really cool, because then you own this font. Like no one else has this unique font. Yeah. So it's something that I definitely want to play around with.
What happens if you click the colors? It just shows it in a different color.
Yeah.
Oh, there's the background.
Tester.
Okay. Oh, the color tester. Okay. Nice.
And then like you would just copy that. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. It's
so
fun.
Yeah, I just want to show that to you guys.
Yeah, well, I know a lot of people that are really into like creating their own fonts and stuff. I wonder how they're gonna feel about that going forward.
Right. So. Like, yeah, is it going to be just like other art forms where people
Yeah.
can use your font as a, as
Yeah.
inspiration, if they could
Yeah.
take a photo of your font and say, I want to look like this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And I was one of those people, like, I've spent lots of hours practicing art and stuff like that, and I've put lots of time in it, and now, like, a lot of it, not really may not be useful anymore. So, like, I definitely sympathize with people who kind of feel that way, but sometimes it's just kind of the way things go.
Well, and we'll talk more about this later, but just the
Mm.
idea that it's an assistant for you. It's a creative assistant. It's not going to.
Yeah.
It's not meant to replace you as an artist. Um, it's just a creative assistant. Like for me,
Yeah.
I had to rely because I didn't create my own like graphics.
Mhm.
If I wanted to add a watercolor flower on my shirt, like I didn't have time to sit there and create my
Yeah.
own watercolor graphic and then take a photo of it and up. Like that's not realistic. I was
Right.
having to source it from third parties
Yeah.
like Creative Fabrica, like Canva, and then oftentimes you were limited by what you could create because maybe you couldn't find exactly what you were looking for, or maybe because there was so little to choose from, you kind of settled for something else, or
Yeah.
just weren't able to create it, or had to pay a lot of money to hire an artist to do it,
Mhm. Or 100
like
other
on
people were
Fiverr,
using it too.
or you were having to use the same exact one.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think it just opens up a world of opportunity,
Yeah. Yeah.
myself.
Yeah.
I did want to mention, because this graphic here, this is a popular trending graphic and wall art right now on Etsy. It says, "Not fragile like a flower, fragile like a bomb," and it's in the feminist niche. So the feminist niche is taking off right now, big time. So something to keep on your radar if you're big on designing things that are in demand, trends, things like that, as well as subtle anti-activism designs. So where it might have like it might be a trendy design, like a cottage core thing like this, like the flowers, but then at the bottom it has like a subtle anti, whatever the anti is,
Mhm.
anti insert, what you're anti, and it's at the bottom there very discreetly. And
Interesting.
that is really taking off on Etsy right now, big time.
Wow.
Or it's like the monochromatic designs where it's like like the floral block print, and
Mm.
maybe there's a pink petal, and then in a lighter pink shade it will have that subtle anti message
Yeah.
in the letters, or in the flowers. So just something to keep on your radar there.
One thing I'll mention about this style design too, just
Mhm.
like, I see a lot of these you'll see a lot of these kind of collages of like these vintage elements, like butterflies or botanical elements and stuff. And they'll often have like text descriptions. Like, I can see the butterflies or moths have that there. You can
Yes.
generate these pretty well with AI, but you definitely need to like double check the text that it generates with it. Like, you'll need to just erase it
Ah,
and put in your own text, because the AI will just kind of put like nonsense scripts around the things. And it look kind of nice from a distance, but if you look at it up closely, and I always kind of wonder, like, I see a lot of people trying to sell that stuff. And I'm like, what happens when their customer like looks closely at the design?
right.
Do they get complaints? So keep an eye out for that.
Interesting. But I didn't even think about that,
Hmm.
because it reminds me of like the scientific drawings.
Yeah.
I forgot what they're like, what the scientific word is for that. But yeah, obviously, if someone is an enthusiast in butterflies, they're probably going to know the different Guinness names and things like that. And if
Hmm.
they're not accurate, they might get mad. So
Yeah.
good tip there.
Remind me later to show when I bring up Midjourney. I'll show you that.
Really quickly, of course, seamless patterns. You can create seamless patterns, pretty amazing ones with AI. And so I wanted to mention that Trent does have a seamless patterns video on his YouTube channel. I don't think I linked it below, but below in the description, I do have his YouTube channel, so you can check this out there. This is one of his recent videos, so I thought that was perfect. I'm like, oh, seamless patterns is trending right now with AI on Etsy,
Yeah.
and he has an entire tutorial about it. So
Yeah. I have a couple of videos on seamless patterns too. So if you want to like create your own, just search my channel for seamless patterns. You'll find it, how to do it with Canva and Affinity Designer too.
mhm. And have you had good experience with that? Like, has it been seamless?
Yes. So back in the old days, you used to like old days of like a year ago, you used to have kind of like, it was in the prompt where you'd say like, make it seamless, and you'd kind of have to hope it kind of worked. But now there's actually a parameter in Midjourney where you can say like dash dash tile, and that'll force it to be seamless. And it seems
Okay.
to have always worked for me. I always test it like in a repeating pattern website, but
Okay.
it seems if you use the flag now, it'll get it every time.
Okay, so there are sites where you can actually check the pattern and make sure it's seamless.
Yeah. I mean, you can use
Cool.
like Photoshop or Illustrator or
Mhm.
Affinity to do it, like just, fill the space with a repeating pattern, or you can just check it on a website too.
Okay, cool. Alrighty, I did want to mention one of the most popular types of prompts is adding the words hand drawn. I do that for a lot of, like, if I want a hand drawn effect on a specific design, like this was generated with, I think, Kittl. I use the words hand drawn at the beginning, and it gives you more of like that hand drawn, like clip art effect that's really popular on Etsy. I want to say it's probably more so popular in the digital space, like with digital downloads, but definitely still on print and demand. It's really popular. So that's probably one of my biggest like prompts that I use is hand drawn, and then like whatever the prompt is. Alrighty, next up is monochromatic. So this is a huge trend on Etsy. There's lots of different ways to create this with print, with not with AI. Like this right here is like a block print. I would probably use the phrase block print in that prompt. More vintage butterflies. This one's really cool with the blue, like the slightly blue on blue. So monochromatic, they're super easy to create, and they're just super popular on Etsy right now, and on Amazon, like on I'd say across most platforms.
So in terms of that, like that middle one, that would be like a transparent PNG, right?
Yes. Yes.
Do you what do you usually use to like make your AI stuff transparent? Or
I remove the background.
Okay, yeah, that's basically what I do.
And then yeah.
Because what I found is like, oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, like, right now, a lot of them, they don't actually like, they don't really give you any ability to do transparency that I know of. But it would be nice in the future if like something like Midjourney, you could just put a flag to say, make it transparent background. So yeah, now you have to kind of manually use a tool like Canva or something to remove the background.
Yeah. And if it doesn't, then I would probably just offer it on like the one color. Like I'd probably just offer this on white if I'm wanting that monochromatic like look. Were there any other like trends that you were noticing? Because those were just a few that I noticed. I wasn't sure like if you had any others that you had wanted to add on.
No, I think that's a good selection. And like I said, any trend is going to be an AI trend these days.
Alrighty, so AI design for print and demand. Do you think AI replaces traditional design skills?
I think for some it does. The way I kind of describe it now is like you have to be the creative director, and AI is kind of like your assistant going out and doing stuff. So it's still up to you to kind of know what you want and to know what looks good. And it's basically your job now to have like good taste and good discernment. And that's something that you can't really outsource right now. You have to be the one that kind of knows what works. So if you have like no design skills, I don't know if AI is going to help you that much unless you just kind of buy things that are pre-made and look nice. But I don't think it replaces traditional design skills yet. Like I said, it kind of puts you up the ladder. On your job is to be creative director now, and you're kind of reviewing the work it gives you or asking for the right stuff.
No, I completely agree. What is your approach to integrating AI with your designs?
Yeah, I think the word integrating is a good one, because like I said, just taking like the images it gives you straight out and putting them on stuff, it can work sometimes, but I think it's kind of like the least creative way of doing it. Like, like we just mentioned, you can take elements, make them transparent, arrange them in a nice way, and maybe create your own custom text around it, kind of mix up the design elements a little bit instead of just, again, taking a square and putting it on a t-shirt or something like that.
Nope, agreed. So when you have an idea and you're like you're wanting to attack a niche, for example, or you're just kind of brainstorming for what you're going to design next, what would that look like? So it'd probably still be like your traditional way of researching. Like, tell us more about that.
Yeah, so a lot of times, like, I like making thumbnails myself. Like, I'll just kind of sketch things, like, okay, how do I want things to fit together and that type of thing. So at least recently I was doing some type of like, I did do a video on phone cases recently. It's probably a long time ago recently, but I was doing some like goth designs, and I had an idea of how I want it to be. And I didn't want the whole thing to be AI, but I knew I wanted kind of like a witch character with like an ornamental frame around her. And I wanted like some type of damask background. So I kind of, I thought of like, what do I need? And individually, each of those elements were AI generated. Like the witch was AI generated, the background was AI generated, but you kind of layer them together and get your results. Excuse me. So I think like thumbnailing is a good way of starting if you're, if you're going to think about how you want to design, and then just iteration. Like, have a phase where you kind of have multiple ideas. Don't just go with your first idea. That's sometimes
Okay.
your first idea might be the best, but maybe do like 3 variations. I do this a lot with fonts. So it's like if I choose a font, force myself to do like 5 different types of fonts to see like which one looks best. And you can even like iterate the graphics with AI now. So again, you generate a witch for your dark academia thing. It's like, okay, generate 3 or 4 and see which one looks the best, you know?
Okay. But how do you keep yourself from like spending too much time regenerating? You know, because I feel like
Yeah.
that could be such a time suck.
Yeah. It's definitely like a thing where it's like you have to kind of maybe time box it or give yourself a cutoff, you know? The thing is like one of the nice things, like because you can do it so fast, like later on you can go back and replace part of it if you don't like it. So you're not really committed. It's not like you're going to generate 10 hours to one idea that can't be reversed, you know? You can, like I
Okay.
said, you can iterate on things much faster.
And which AI tool or platform do you use the most?
So these days it would be like Midjourney is the one I've been using the most. And I just think we've talked about this a little bit before, but like I think a lot of platforms these days will add AI as kind of like a tacked on feature. And I like the programs that are dedicated to doing one thing, because then you know like
Okay.
their whole team, the whole company is focused on that one thing. And Midjourney is basically all focused on like image generation, although I think they're going to do videos soon. But you know, some of the other companies, like they'll, you know, certain, well, name companies, but certain companies where it's like, here's a little thing where you can click AI and put an image on a thing, and their whole business is something else, right? Some other design
Okay.
aspect. But I like the specialized tools. So Midjourney is kind of my go-to these days. A lot of my YouTube thumbnails, I use it for that, and just generating assets. You know, we talk about, you know, back in the old days, I don't know if you remember, maybe this is, you're much younger than me, but like when Google first came out, it took a little while till you realized like, oh, when I have a question, I can just Google it, you know, like
Yes.
that. It took a few years for that to be like the reflex, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it took me a couple of years for like the reflex of like design elements to be like, oh, I can just generate this on Midjourney, whether it's like a texture
Yes.
or a clip art, or even just like a, something very simple and basic that you wouldn't even think of, you know, just, oh, go to Midjourney, ask for it and get it, you know?
Was there anything you want to show us on Midjourney? Like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind seeing like which version do you use, like a
Yeah.
little bit more of your process. If you want to share your screen.
Sure. I'll share my screen here. Let's do that. I guess that's on me to click the button here.
Yeah, no worries.
Let's do this one. Okay, sharing. So yeah, so this is Midjourney. It's at midjourney.com. And kind of by default, you get on this explore page here where it kind of shows you the trending things. And I think this is pretty like nice for just getting ideas. I'll talk a little bit more about this later, but kind of the key thing here is the create tab. And you know, we could do something like, you know, what you said earlier was, I don't know, dark academia things. Let's say like, I don't know, vines in the style of, I'll say style of dark academia. We'll see what it gives you. Now, well, before I hit enter, let me just show you the settings here. I can change the aspect ratio of it. So I can have it be very wide. So maybe I want to do like a desk mat or something like that. There's these other options for stylization and all that, but I'll just kind of show you the size one to begin with. I'll hit enter here. And I'll go to my create tab here. This is where it kind of generates the results you get. And on the right, you can see like it's showing me the details of this job. This is the text I typed. And this is the aspect ratio.
Okay.
So here we get like a result, you know. So maybe this isn't like, I didn't give it the best description, but this is kind of something that you could go with here. One thing that I know people struggle with is like prompts, like how do you write prompts and all that. I can give you some
Okay.
feedback
Yes.
on that if you
Yes.
like.
Please.
Well, kind of my short feedback is to not really worry too much about prompts when you get started, because what I like is Midjourney, it has this explore tab here. And this is a great way to actually like search for ideas visually. So here we can say like, what was it before we were looking at? Vintage butterflies or something?
Yes.
Let's look at that.
Vintage botanical butterflies.
Yeah, so I typed that in here, and now I can search all these creations that other people did here. So you can get like all sorts of ideas. And
Ooh,
the
I
really
like that
cool
one with
thing,
the music notes. That was really cool.
yeah, let's go back to that one. There's this one with the text. Where's the musical note? This musical notes here, yeah. So the musical notes probably aren't correct, but it's like a nice idea, you know?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And what you can do is you can actually click on the text here and it'll put the prompt up here, and then you can like rerun it yourself. So you'll probably get a slightly different result. You can also replace the objects. So instead of butterflies, let's say like ravens or something. And I think that's, yeah, it only mentions butterflies in one part. So let's put ravens, another kind of common dark academia object. It's doing the different aspect ratio because that's what I have as my default here. But now we have like a whole new thing.
Oh,
right?
wow. That's so cool.
Yeah. So this is like what we have here, right? So we saw that visually, we browsed it through the Explore tab, and then we kind of just reran it with a simple difference like that. Let's see.
So like, say you like that image and you wanted to make a desk mat, or like what types of product would you sell with this type of image?
So 16:9 is a really nice aspect ratio for, like you said, a desk mat or something like that, or a laptop sleeve. So what you could do is you could take this, they have a simple upscaler here, so you could just upscale it a little bit. You could also use other programs like Topaz AI is one I use for upscaling. There's one called AI Arty that George actually recommended to me. I've used the demo, I really liked it, but I still have to buy it. But this would be something that you could do in like like I said, a desk mat. Or you could like change the aspect ratio and do it on a phone. So let me click on this. I'll change the aspect ratio to like portrait. Maybe something
for like a cell phone case.
Yeah, exactly. So it would be probably kind of similar. Let's do it again. So let's see how it looks. I have it set to turbo mode, so it'll generate a little faster than normal, hopefully.
So like, because the cell phone case is smaller, would you have to upscale that, or just like for a larger print?
Yeah, so for this one, I would probably just do the default upscaling to begin with. So
just a subtle one, and that would be good.
Yeah, and usually I think when you generate for the first time, it's 1024 pixels on the side, and I think the maximum it can do is 2048. So you may need to use another upscaler like Canva or something like that just to do it again. But I think the first level of upscaling would be good. So then you could take this and then put it on a phone or something like that, phone case.
Cool. Very cool.
One other thing you may want to do is, okay, maybe this is, like if we're going to do a phone, there's probably going to be a camera here. And I think it might cut off my character. So what I can do is I can use this pan option down here. And we can add more content. So I want to add more content to the top. So let's click this. And this is going to add more content up here. So if I go here, it'll still take my original image, but you can see it's generating more up here. So it's giving me more headroom to work with, I guess. So you can see the difference there. I'm not sure if that was clear.
No, it definitely moved down. So that way, whenever that camera is cut out, the character is still there. Or and I'm sure if you needed to, you could do it again if you needed to go
exactly.
lower.
Yeah. And you can you can specify the exact aspect ratio you want. You can also kind of like erase things. So if I'm like, okay, this bird looks a little messed up, I don't like it. So I'll click on this. I'll click on the editor, and I can just like erase it out, and I can submit again.
Wait, I didn't see what you.
Oh, let me do it again from scratch.
Yeah.
So I'll click on the image here, and there's this button here called Editor.
Okay.
So
okay. Yeah. Yes.
And then I already erased it, but like by default, my cursor turns into an eraser, so I can erase things away.
Okay.
Or I can put them back in if I wanted to, but I'll erase it. And then you just you submit it, and then it'll regenerate just that area you erased.
Okay, cool.
So you can actually fill in stuff. So this is my result with the erased there. Here's another one.
Now, is this already defaulted to your preferred version of Midjourney? Because I don't know, there's different versions. Or do you have to, or do you have to do -- your version?
You don't have to. That's under the settings here.
Okay.
These 3 lines. So I'll click this.
See, I'm so used to generating in Discord because that's where you originally did it, and there's it's not as, you don't have all these options. So I definitely need to switch and start doing it on the website because this is so much better than in Discord.
Yeah, I was a hardcore Discord user for a while too, and eventually I switched to the web one. It took me about a week to get used to it, but once I got used to it, I could not go back to the Discord. I mean, all the settings are here. But you can change the version. So if you like, some people do have a previous version they like. One thing I'll point out is there is a significant other version, which is called Niji. So this is like the
Okay.
anime engine. So if you're
Okay.
doing like graphics, let me see. I guess if we go for this one, maybe. If you want to do like again that kind of that Japanese style graphics, let's see what this looks like. You'll kind of see the difference here. So I enabled the Niji engine as it says here, and let's see what happens. Theoretically, it'll look more kind of like an anime type result when it comes in. So the way these things work is they create a bunch of
Welcome,
noise.
George.
Hi, George. Great to have you here.
And some feedback from Shelly. This is incredible. So thanks, Trent.
Oh, yeah, no
I
problem.
know. I'm like mind blown too. I'm like, why have I not been using the website? I've been using Discord this whole time.
Yeah. But so this one's still kind of coming in. So I'll just when this one go, I'll just maximize this one. So you can see it's much more like that, you know, Japanese style.
Okay, cool.
So I don't know like why they specifically added that, but it's there if you like it. But usually I just have it default to the latest version.
6.1. Yeah, that's my preferred version.
Yeah.
For graphics for print and demand is 6.1.
Yeah.
Do you know when they're coming out with the next update?
I don't know. They do like office hours on the Discord like once a week or so, and I don't know the exact date for version 7. I do think like eventually they're going to try to do video or something. That'll be pretty insane when they do that. But yeah, I'm not sure. I had something planned for your question later on, where about my tips and tricks. So I can bring it back up then if you'd like.
Yeah. All right, on to prompt recommendations. Now we may have covered some of this already. What are your go-to prompt strategies? Like when you're like, okay, I have this design idea that I want to create. Like, what is your recommendation? Like, what is your normal process for crafting your prompts?
Yeah, so like these days, a lot of it is kind of just like browsing the Explore tab. I really want to try like do things like visually these days to kind of see what I want. You can also so I'll kind of get like the basic style description from exploring other things, and then I'll kind of add on, like I'll replace the nouns with like, what are the nouns I want, you know? So if it's like a butterfly, I want a raven, replace that. Or if it's like, I did one recently, like an impressionistic view of like a lake or something, I replaced it with the Eiffel Tower. So you kind of like, I think the best way is to just learn from others, like, and browse what their results are, the public results they have.
Okay.
Something I'll also mention too is you can upload things to Midjourney and have it describe the image. So that's another way to get like some text out of it.
Yes.
So if you have art you created already, upload it to Midjourney, click that describe button, and it'll give you a prompt that it thinks describes your image.
I've used that quite a bit. That's been really helpful. Generally, it's very helpful to use that feature.
Yeah.
I use ChatGPT for that too, where it will allow you like the 4.0 the paid version. It will allow you to upload an image and like it will describe it, and that's been really helpful.
Yeah.
What are some common mistakes that you see with someone who is either, you know, with their prompts or using AI to try and create designs for their print and demand business? Like, what are some common mistakes that you've noticed?
Yeah, one of the most common mistakes I see is not seeing that the AI made mistakes. So, you know, there are certain objects, everyone knows about the hands thing, although hands are pretty much better these days, but like you have to have like a really good eye to like look at the results and say, okay, is there a mistake here? You know, because AI, it's very good about giving us stuff that at a glance looks amazing. And then you look a little bit closer and you're like, oh, you know, that cat has 2 tails or something like that, you know, or those types of things. It's kind of like those books in the dentist office for like kids where it's like find the error in the picture. You kind of have to always be playing that game with AI, and it's getting better, but I still see a lot of people posting stuff that has just basic mistakes, you know, putting it on products. And like I showed you earlier, Midjourney has the ability to like paint out areas and repaint them in. So I definitely recommend using that in a program if it has it.
Yep, agreed.
I would also just say like just accepting the default style of what it gives you and not really going beyond. Like try to explore more of it, because there's that kind of AI aesthetic that we've all seen where it's kind of like that slight rainbow, slight CGI-ish look that, you know, customers are very sophisticated these days. They see that design. They know it's kind of AI generated. It's been done. So there's so much more style you can get out of it these days.
Now, do you ever optimize your prompts like in ChatGPT or anything like that?
I haven't done it recently. I used to, but like I said, I just like the ones from, you know, the Explore so much more now. I guess you could try it with the ChatGPT. One of the things I remember about ChatGPT is several months kind of behind. So I don't know if it knows
Mm-hmm.
about like, Midjourney 6.1 yet or something like that,
Right.
but
Okay.
you can try it.
Okay. I've had decent luck optimizing some prompts on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So how do you recommend someone get started with AI generation, incorporating AI art into their print and demand business without getting overwhelmed?
Yeah. I think, I would say just use a little bit at a time. Like you can use it as a design element. Like where would be an area it saves you time, right? Like, so maybe you are someone who likes to do watercolor flowers or something like that. Maybe you can bring that into Midjourney, have it create some watercolor flowers based on your own style. Like that's a possibility. You can actually upload an image. I didn't show it, but you can use an image as a reference to create another image, So that's a possibility. It really kind of depends where your current design skills are. But yeah, getting started is just like the best thing.
Okay, just experimenting with it.
Yeah, and just like, like in Midjourney, like there's a lot of parameters. You don't have to worry about all of them. Just maybe play with one every once in a while. Like I said, the size one is the most important. Then from there, you can kind of like tweak some of the other ones.
All right, time for Spill the Beans section, where you kind of give us some additional hot tips really quickly. What's one secret or hack you use for your AI generation that
I think
you swear by?
I think one really cool thing that I've done some of and I want to do more of is using it for mockups. And I can give you an example now if you want me to share my screen again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do that.
So these are mockups for your Etsy shop, for your
Yeah.
main thumbnails.
Yeah. So let me show you. So yeah, exactly. So what I'll do is on Midjourney here, I'll go to this edit tab here. So it's called edit. And what you can do is you can actually upload images that you've made yourself. So let's upload an image here. Let me just find one. I'll just navigate to it. So what I'll upload is a video, or not a video, but a mock-up that came from Printify. Some of you will probably recognize this, like the style of this mock-up here. Let's do this. So here I have a phone case, and this is just like the generic, kind of the generic, phone case mock-up you've probably seen on Printify, right? Well, what I can do is I can actually I can actually erase the side area here like this. Now, currently it's kind of a primitive way to erase. Like they don't have like object selection or anything like that. But I can just kind of like erase around my phone. I hope like in the future they get like, better brushes that can do this a little bit better. I'll just erase around here.
So this is a mock-up that you downloaded on Printify after you published it, or while you were like creating the listing.
Exactly. Yeah. So this is kind of like a thumbnail that came from Printify. So now what I can do is I can actually like regenerate that area, and maybe I'll give it like a more aesthetic feel here. So I'll say goth desk, witchy background or something like that. Let's click submit. And sometimes you have to like do things multiple times to see like what the result is.
So then you can really like just make it very specific to that product.
Exactly. So here you can see
so cool.
it kind of feels more like that style. So I can look at the other ones. And I could like do a better example, but yeah, like I could put in more words here to get like a better result. But you can see like I could do like candles or whatever. I don't know, candles, potions, scrolls. Let's see what this looks like.
I love that because you're still using the mock-up of the actual product,
Exactly.
which is recommended by Etsy, but you're really creating a unique background that's very geared towards whatever niche, that product is in. So that's really cool.
Yeah, you can do it with like all sorts of things too. So here's like another example here. So this is like this one actually I kind of like. So this is like a phone case.
I really like that.
Yeah. Let me show you. I'll do
and
one
that's
more.
Gonna stick out so much more than like other mock-ups.
Exactly.
On Etsy, that really helps you to stand out amongst the competition. That's a really hot tip.
Yeah. Here's this one that you did before. I kind of took a little screenshot of it. So this could be like a poster, right? So let's say we have this image, and posters are kind of nice to do mock-ups with because like it's just a rectangle that can be basically put anywhere. So let's do like another one. A poster hanging on the wall, goth room decor, product mock-up. Let's see what this does. So we can try this. And it'll generate. Sometimes it takes a few seconds to start, but once it gets going, it's quicker. So I'm done. So now we have like these different, mock-ups here. It's like this,
Very cool.
just like, and
Mhm.
the only limit is like how good your description is here. So you could like,
Mhm.
obviously put much more context there, but that's one of my main
Change the
tricks.
lighting and things like that.
Yes, yeah. So
Very cool.
that's one I like. Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, no problem.
What's an underrated tool or feature most print-on-demand sellers overlook that could be a game changer?
In terms of like AI and stuff like
Mhm.
that. Yeah, the one I showed you I liked. I would also just say like, again, I sound like a broken record, but there's so many styles you can find in the Explore tab. I mean,
Mhm.
you can just go forever. And I see so many people just kind of doing the same stuff. So I really recommend looking at more options like that.
Mhm.
Just finding more styles, like kind of becoming more fluent about what is possible, I would say.
And then does that kind of play into the tip that you would have for making your designs look more authentic and less AI generated? It's just like
Exactly.
looking
Yeah.
for high quality prompts.
Right. Like right now for authentic, I would say it's mostly going to be like adding in good looking fonts and text, like, that actually looks professional. Cause right now it's still not quite there, but if
Mhm.
you see a design that is clearly multiple things coming together, like before you had that hand drawn elements, if you have that and you add on, a nice font, a perfect font above and below it, people aren't going to say, oh, that's AI right now.
Mhm.
They're going to
Right.
see, oh, that's text and stuff. And it's there's a transparent background. So it's, a human made this thing, right? It looks
Mhm.
more handmade. Whereas if it's just a rectangle on a shirt of like a rainbow cat, we know it's AI these days.
Right. Absolutely. And
Yeah.
what's your biggest AI win?
I would say, I think it's the mock-up thing I showed you. I
Mhm.
did that with some rugs and I didn't really have a good setup for it that I liked. And I kind of made my own background with AI and stuff. The rug mock-up was from Printify, but I made
Mhm.
the surrounding areas a little
Mhm.
more stylish, shall we say, for
Yeah,
zero cost.
for some products, it's hard to find a good mock-up. Like
Yeah.
candles, like I think that would be a stellar tip for if you sell print-on-demand candles.
Yeah.
I think phone cases was a good one because it's really hard to find good phone case mock-ups. It just
Yeah.
is.
Right.
And that could really limit you as a seller sometimes.
True.
And so that's just a really great tip. So
Yeah. Just
save bookmark this, guys.
right. Just make sure the mock-up represents your product. See, I see a lot of people,
Yes.
they'll do t-shirt mock-ups and they'll generate the whole t-shirt from AI. And it's like, well, that
Yeah.
t-shirt isn't exactly the one you're selling. Like the collar's different or the sleeves are different. So be
Mhm.
careful with that.
Yeah, especially with apparel. I completely agree.
Yeah.
Um, because that was really popular for a little while, and I think one with still with photos, like it's obvious that it's AI
Mhm.
generated usually because it's like the skin is like too smooth and perfect, um, and or there's like an extra appendage or something
Yeah.
that's gotten better, but
Yeah.
it's very like it's hard to gain trust with a customer when you're using AI generated mock-ups for apparel. But I
Yeah.
think like for products like candles, phone cases, I think that's perfect because
True.
you're still using the actual like product. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I
You're just
agree.
changing the background.
Yeah, there's still like it's called the uncanny valley. I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but when you have like when you try to create something that looks like a human, like we're very good at recognizing if something is slightly off. So it can be hard to make them look super realistic. But for inanimate objects, like again, phone cases, desk mats,
Mhm.
it's a no-brainer. It's super easy to use.
And what is your number one piece of advice for anyone listening right now who really wants to move the needle in their business?
Um, like I said, I think not to get overwhelmed is a big thing. And the short, have I'm trying to think of like how I manage my time now compared to how I used to manage it, and I used to make all these big plans to do things and stuff, but it's like, what is the one thing I want to get done today, and just kind of do that in terms of productivity. I kind of think, maybe you realize this too, like as you work more for yourself, you kind of learn more about your own productivity and the way things
Yes.
work. So I think when you're working on your own, just doing work itself isn't meaningful necessarily. Like you have to be doing the right work. So I think that's something I would focus on. Just always kind of be analyzing your workflows and look for ways of improving uh, how you do things.
And how do you know if what you're doing is really moving the needle?
Yeah, ideally in some situations, it's like metrics, So for me, it's like, okay, I can see if a video does well or a product does well or something like that.
Mhm.
Kind of the main thing about moving the needle is like the main feedback is like pain of realizing you wasted time on something and being like, okay, I shouldn't do that again. So that's, I would like to say it's the reward of knowing you did something well, but usually the main way is like the pain of feeling like you wasted time on something is the main
Yes.
teacher.
Yep, absolutely. Alrighty, guys, make sure you catch Technically Trent on his YouTube channel. Tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel, what kind of videos you create for that channel.
Yeah, a lot of the videos.
There's a link below, by the way.
Yeah, so I kind of do a lot of tutorials for design tools, Affinity Designer, Affinity Photo, or some big ones I do. I have been moving on to more some AI-based subjects recently. I just released a Midjourney beginner's tutorial, actually literally today, so you can check that out there. I also do some like video editing tutorials. It's kind of I call it like tutorials for creators. So if you're creating stuff, probably I have tutorials that will solve some part of your problem, hopefully. I'm always looking for new topics to go into. There's so many things these days. But yeah, combination of AI, graphic design, art, all sorts of stuff like that.
Throw a robot emoji if you like the AI version of Trent that I created. That was my attempt at AIing Trent.
I like it. Yeah, I'll take it. It could have been much worse.
I did a Pixar style.
Okay.
Let's see. George. Yes, he does.
Thanks for coming, George.
Marlene, you are welcome, Marlene. Yeah, I'm super excited about that mock-up hack. That was really good. And just like the reminder to use the web-based version, because I wasn't using it, and it's so much better than Discord. Like I was so used to using Discord, it was just like, this is what I do.
My muscle memory was very much tied to the Discord. It took me about a week, but like once I went, I couldn't go back, you know.
So those were hot tips for me. Yeah, guys, ask away any questions that you have about AI, print on demand, Etsy, moving the needle in your business, getting more sales. George is on here too. I'm sure he's happy to share information.
While we're waiting, Angel, I suppose I'll ask you, like, you know, what have been your AI wins, or like, what do you kind of plan to use it for in the future?
My first time getting a bestseller with a design that was generated with AI was just like so exciting. I was like, oh my gosh, this works.
Yeah. When did you start using it, by the way?
I actually the first time I ever used it was actually in one of my digital shops, because I do digital downloads too. And I had, you know, there was a niche that it was actually a news cycle driven niche. And I was, usually if something isn't going to have a lot of longevity, like I feel like it's like a really hot trend that's going to be hot for like a couple months, I'll throw it in my digital shop. And then if it has longevity, I put it in my print-on-demand shop. Okay. And so that was one of the cases where I was like, I don't think this is going to have a ton of longevity, but people are searching for it. It's hot. I want to make money off this.
Nice.
And so I hopped on, I think it was Midjourney. It was Midjourney, and created a design, you know, that had an idea for it, and it sold. And I was like, "What? Someone bought this?"
Wow.
And it was art that like I wouldn't have been able to create if I hadn't had an AI image generator. Like I just wouldn't have been able to do it.
Yeah.
And so that was exciting to me.
Yeah.
And now it's AI is just so much part of my workflow. It's just like, whether it's ChatGPT or AI image generation, it's just like, it's so automatic now.
Yeah.
And I prefer AI in a lot of ways now. Like I'm sure people have been paying attention to that recent video that went viral with a platform, a third-party platform where you get, I don't want to name any names, but where you get assets for designs, elements, and they got sued. And that can happen to anyone, regardless as to where like you source your graphics, whether it's Canva or Creative Fabrica, or, you know, name wherever you source your graphics. That's kind of like a risk, you know? And I do like that with AI, like I feel like in some ways there's less risk. Now that could change if, you know, people can say, well, that's an artist style, but I still think there's like less liability, and it's just like more creativity. So and I have a lot of AI wins. I love AI. It's a great assistant in my business. Like I couldn't do a lot of things that I do right now if we didn't have those tools.
Yeah. One other tip I was thinking of, your comment reminded me of, was that I will increase like vibrance and contrast of the result I get out of AI. Because sometimes I'll see something that I like, it gives me something I like, but I'll bring it into Affinity Photo or Canva, and I'll boost the saturation and I'll boost the levels, just get the blacks and the whites out a little more strongly. So that was another tip I would recommend for people. I'm actually just, again, like I'll be releasing a video soon within a week about like touching up your AI work. So taking what Midjourney gives you, and maybe it needs a couple fixes. You know, you want to change a color here or there, and you want to fix some problem. That's a common thing to do too.
All right, guys, any other questions? Don't be afraid to ask. There are no dumb questions.
Ask away.
And it's important in whatever community that you're in. So whether you're just into print on demand on YouTube, or if you're part of a private community, you're in the sellers club, or you're like in a school community, or I think you mentioned you have a Facebook group, Trent.
I don't yet. I want to start a Discord eventually. We'll see.
Okay, cool. And wherever you're at, if you have access to someone who has been successful, has sold online, make sure you're using them as a resource and asking them questions, because that's what they're there for. Being a part of the mentorship group was huge for me. For me, it was more about mindset whenever I was brand new, and just like learning that like you can actually make money online, and you can make a living too if you're willing to double down and treat it like a job and not a hobby. So yeah, ask away. That's what we're here for. If you're watching the replay, feel free to ask questions there. We will make sure to monitor the questions. I try and answer all of the YouTube questions that I get. Let's see, Anne, which one do you recommend, Midjourney or Kittl?
Is this for me?
Yes. And
yeah,
I'll give my feedback after you answer.
Sure. So I haven't used Kittl in a while. I used it back in the old days. They had a different name, and they were just more of like they're like a Canva competitor, basically. I think it seems like Kittl has some pretty good text generation these days, but for like the whole, I mean, it's not probably a secret that I would support Midjourney more in this one, just because I think they're just going to give you a better, more wide range of results.
Mm-hmm. I use both. It depends on the style. That boot that I created earlier, let me add my here. Oops. So I forget which page it was on, but that boot graphic, the disco boot graphic, that was actually created. Sorry, I'm trying to go back here. It's not letting me escape it. Here it goes. But it was on this page right here. That was actually created in Midjourney. I've created some pretty cool art in not Midjourney, but Kittl. There are certain styles that especially like the hand-drawn styles, if that's what if that's the type of graphics that you like to create, I feel like Kittl does a really good job with those. But I really like Midjourney too. So I personally use both. It just depends on like this. I will sometimes try the same prompt in both and see which result I like better.
Do you want me to, I can share my screen and give another little tip if people like.
Yeah.
Let me bring it up here. One thing I like is I like kind of creating assets within one Midjourney generation, which makes no sense as I say it, but you'll see what I mean in a second.
Sure.
So let's go here. So so if you put like a prompt or something like a sticker sheet or something like that, right? So I'll go here, I'll paste this prompt, and I kind of talk about like just goth stuff, but it kind of starts with like, sticker designs. So let's do this. So I'll submit that. And this is a great way of getting like a variety of things that like a sheet of options you would want. So here you can see I have all these different designs here. And I could remove the backgrounds, and these are like coherent elements that kind of work together, right? The style is all very similar. So I kind of like that approach. Let me show you one other one. Sticker sheet is another term I use. So if you say sticker sheet here, and then just kind of describe like what you want. So this is like a nice way of like generating like, 12 elements that then you can take and remix as you like on your composition here. So the job is starting. So this is the one I created here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so this is like
color palette.
Yeah, so it's a nice color palette, and you can change the text as you like. I don't know why this one's not starting. Let's try it again. Some days they're slow in the afternoon, but this one is coming around now. So the key here is I typed sticker sheet over here. So what you would do is you would remove the background, and then you could like cut out these elements and use them for something. And that's kind of a trick I like to do to get like a variety of results that look all the same.
Very cool. So sticker sheet. Okay. So like show us how you would like cut, what would be the process for like cutting those out? Like what would that look like?
Let me go back there. So I'll do is just like
eliminate all of the, like erase the other.
Exactly. So I would so let's save this. So I'll save. So I'm right clicking on it. I'm going to say save image. And let's go to here. Let's call it I don't know, crystals or something. And I'll just go to Canva. You can use other background removal tools, but I'll go to Canva here. I'll create a design and I'll upload it. And we'll just go to so I'll say use in a new design. This is I didn't upscale it, but I'll just use this to save time. And if I have it selected here, once it loads, I'll go to BG remover here. And I guess it took it out. I'll share it. I'll now download it. I'll do a transparent PNG. We'll call it transparent. And I'll just open it in a program. So these are my transparent elements now. So let's go to like let's get like a t-shirt mock-up or something. I'm trying to find an image. Okay, so we have this mock-up here. So I could go here and I could like cut out my elements that I like. So maybe I want this potion bottle here. So again, not the best design, but like you could kind of do this type of thing where you put it in a design or something. So let's get this one here. I'll cut out this one here. And you could actually sell these too if you wanted, like on a clip art shop or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like maybe that's how we would do it, you know?
Yeah, that's so cool. That's perfect for a collage design.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah,
because that's so popular in Etsy, like the collage designs. Like what like a genius way to create graphics. I hadn't even thought to do it that way.
Yeah, so you could just you could just keep going like this, and again, not the greatest design, but you can see the potential here of like mixing and matching things, right, as you went through it. So that's kind of another trick I have. So I'll stop. So yeah, definitely that's a useful one.
And I'm trying to create a couple different images to show you guys the difference between. Sorry, I'm like losing my voice here. I had the flu last week. I'm not completely recovered, guys. Sorry. So far, I wanted to show you the difference between like Kittl and like Midjourney, like using the same prompt.
Yeah, I'd love to see especially Kittl. I haven't seen Kittl too much lately. Let us know in the chat, like if you guys let us know in the chat if you guys have like are going to use any of these techniques. Like which one do you think you want to use? So
this is a prompt I just put in to create I can't talk. Oh my goodness. A magnolia flower, magnolia. And I think it's a pretty stunning graphic. So this is Kittl.
Nice.
I think it turned out pretty cool.
Does it give you, is the background transparent already, or?
I would have to remove the background.
Okay, all right.
And I can remove the background, and then I wonder if it will let me add a background color. So you can see that's transparent. So now it's transparent. And then this is that same prompt in Midjourney. And I actually liked the one better in Kittl because I like the different colors. They were decent. Yeah. But there are some things that like I absolutely love in Midjourney where just like it just that you can't Midjourney can't replicate like certain art forms. So I still love Midjourney, but I just personally like I try and use both to see which end result I like better.
Yeah. And again, it's about whichever one works for you, you know?
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, guys, really quickly, I want to go back to presentation mode here. Tell you guys about some things that are coming up. All right, next up in the hot seat is going to be Essence from the Essence Ray YouTube channel. She has made a lot of money on TikTok. She's been super successful on TikTok, selling print on demand on TikTok. and on TikTok Shop. So we're going to be picking her brain next week. So make sure if that's something you're interested in learning more about, you guys come and check that out and pick her brain on, on that platform. I think that there's a lot of opportunity on TikTok that isn't being leveraged. So I'm super excited to learn more about that. That's something that like I really like TikTok, and I feel like it's something that if I had more time, I wish I could utilize, because I feel like I have seen shops on Etsy, some of the top shops, where they're taking off on TikTok. So it's a pretty incredible platform if it's leveraged right. So I'm super excited to have her on next week, 1:00 Eastern time. Also, Spotify, we are now on Spotify. So if you want to listen on the go, we are available there. So just look for the Wednesday Grind Etsy Success, and we'll pop up. And we have 2 episodes up now, and Trent's will be added later. So I'm super excited for that.
Cool. It's my first time on Spotify that I know of.
And Apple Podcast. Also, replays, guys, check these out. These were super valuable videos. I interviewed Heather. We talked all about print and demand trends in 2025 that are just absolutely blowing up on Etsy. So check that out. George from Etsy Mentor came on and gave us his formula for how he scaled his business to $1 million a year on Etsy. Hannah Gardner was just on last week, and I learned some fascinating things about and really like dispelled myths about Etsy ads or running Etsy ads that I didn't even know that I had. So super informative there if you ever wanted to grow more with Etsy ads. And then of course, Cassie Jensen was on earlier, I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we talked about mock-up hacks. And mock-ups are really important because they're the first thing that people see. That's their first impression, how we get them to click on our listings. So anything you can do to level that skill up is super important. So check those out. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time on the Wednesday Grind next week at 1:00. Any other questions, feel free to shoot those below. We'll answer those later. But thanks so much for joining us, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, Trent, for joining us.
Thank you so much.